Hi, I'm Charlie from Summary Sanctum. So, what if I told you that one of the most common pieces of advice, trust your feelings, is actually sabotaging your life? What if your emotions aren't your friends at all? Today, we're going to dive into the incredible power that you can unlock by mastering these emotions, specifically by learning how not to react.
Let's just start with this idea right here, because it really challenges something we take for granted. This quote says it all. Your emotions are basically ancient survival hardware. Think about it. They were perfect for a world where the biggest threat was, a lion jumping out of the bushes. But today, in our world of stressful emails, social media comments, and traffic jams, those same knee-jerk reactions are doing way more harm than good.
So how exactly does this play out? How does this ancient programming sabotage us in our modern lives? Well, that brings us right into our first section, uncovering the hidden and, honestly, sometimes devastating costs of our emotional reactions.
And these costs are so real. I mean, just think about it for a second. Have you ever sent an angry email and immediately regretted it? That's a damaged professional reputation. Or snapped at a loved one because you were stressed? That's a strained relationship. These aren't just abstract concepts. They're the real-world fallout for moments where we let our emotions take the wheel. And it chips away at everything, even our own self-respect.
And this is maybe the most crucial part to understand. It's not just about one bad moment. Every single time you let an emotional reaction fly, you're carving a deeper groove in your brain for that exact pathway. You are quite literally training your brain to get better and faster at failing, at reacting poorly. It becomes your default setting.
Okay, so why? Why is this our go-to response? What is actually happening inside our skulls when we just lose it? In this next section, we're going to get into the science. We're going to look at your brain's ancient alarm system and this thing called the hijack.
All right, let's meet the main character in this whole drama, the amygdala. The best way to think of it is like your brain's own personal security guard. But here's the catch. It's super overzealous. It's on high alert 24/7, and it can't tell the difference between a real, life-threatening danger and, say, a critical comment from your boss. To the amygdala, it's all a threat.
And that's what leads to this, the amygdala hijack. This is the technical term for when your emotional brain completely takes over. It floods your system with stress hormones and basically shuts down your rational brain before it even has a chance to chime in. It's a total coup, and your emotions are in charge.
This right here, this visualizes the entire lesson of this explainer perfectly. Most of us live our lives on that top line. Something happens, a stimulus, and boom, we have an instant unconscious reaction. The goal, the entire game, is to get to that bottom line, to create a tiny pocket of time, a space between what happens and what you do. Because in that space, that's where your power lies, the power to choose.
Now, this slide shows you exactly why creating that space is so darn hard. Just look at these numbers. Your emotional amygdala sounds the alarm in just 12 milliseconds. That's faster than a blink of an eye. And your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, it takes around 500 milliseconds to come online. That's nearly 40 times slower. Your emotions have already started a riot before your logic even knows there's a problem.
So, the million-dollar question is, how do we possibly fight our own biology? How do we create that critical space when our brain is wired for speed? Well, that's exactly what this next section is all about. We're going to break down the power of the pods, a super simple, practical method you can use to take back control. And here it is. It's a simple acronym which makes it really easy to remember when you're feeling overwhelmed. STOP. It stands for Stop, Take a breath, observe, and proceed. It's a 4-step framework you can use the second you feel that emotional heat rising. Let's walk through it. Okay, the first 2 steps are all about hitting the brakes on the physical hijack. First, you just stop. And I mean physically. If you're about to type that angry reply, literally take your hands off the keyboard. Just freeze. Then, take a breath. And this is so important. A long, slow exhale isn't just a cliche. It physically activates a nerve that acts like a biological reset button for your nervous system, telling your body it's safe. So once you've calmed the physical storm a little, you move to step 3, observe. This is where you become a detective. You ask yourself, okay, what are the actual facts of this situation? And what's the story I'm telling myself about it? You notice the anger or the fear without judging it. And only then, once you've done all that, do you proceed. You make a conscious choice, a response that actually serves your future self, not just your fleeting emotion. So what happens when you actually practice this? When the STOP method becomes a habit? What's the real payoff?
In our final section, let's talk about the profound transformation that happens when you truly start to master your inner world.
Honestly, this says it best. You make a fundamental shift. You stop being a puppet where your strings are pulled by external events and other people's moods. Instead, you become the director of your own life. You are the one who calls the shots, deciding on your own emotional state and ultimately your own success.
And the first huge benefit you'll notice is just clarity. When you're not lost in that thick fog of emotional reactivity, you can see things as they actually are. Problems become clearer, solutions become more obvious. Your decision-making gets a massive upgrade.
And that clarity builds a deep, unshakable confidence. And I'm not talking about arrogance. This is a quiet, solid belief in yourself. It's the knowledge that you can handle whatever comes your way because you trust yourself to manage your own internal state, no matter how crazy things get on the outside.
And all of this leads to resilience. You build this incredible inner strength. You become what some people call anti-fragile. It means that setbacks and challenges don't just bounce off you. They actually make you stronger. You literally grow from the pressure. And that brings us right back to the core idea. That tiny little gap, that space between a trigger and how you respond, that's everything. It might seem small, but that's the space where your career, your relationships, and your entire future are built, one conscious choice at a time. So the only question left is, how will you choose to build yours?